At 2:37 a.m., I pulled drawer 14. The wrist tag said, John Doe, unidentified male, found near the river. But beneath it, someone had taped a second note in neat, all-caps handwriting. Wrong body, not me. And the second I read it, the room felt like it was listening back. This is a dramatized story, retold for entertainment. Names and identifying details have been changed. What you're about to hear is exactly how it felt to work those nights. Quiet, cold, and wrong. Working nights in a morgue teaches you how loud quiet really is. The ventilation never stops breathing, and the lights buzz like insects trapped in glass. The freezers hum with calm patience that makes time feel wrong. Even the building creaks, like it's getting comfortable. I took the job because it paid well, and because I liked being alone. I told myself bodies were just bodies, and nights meant fewer conversations. The truth was simpler. I needed money, and nights were all I could get. I didn't realize alone was part of the design. By week 2, I knew the drawers by sound. Some slid clean, some complained. The older techs had rules they never wrote down, but they followed them anyway. Don't whistle, don't joke, and if a handle is wet, pretend you didn't notice. No one explained the wet handle rule, which made it worse. Drawer 14 didn't slide smoothly. When I pulled it open, steel scraped on steel loud enough to ring in my bones. Inside was the standard sheet, standard tag, standard John Doe, except for that extra note, taped like an afterthought, waiting. I checked the folder and matched every detail. Time, description, signatures. Everything lined up perfectly. That should have calmed me down, but it didn't. If the paperwork was clean, then the lie had to be somewhere else. I told myself it was a prank and peeled the note off. The paper felt damp, like it had been pressed against skin. Then I saw it on the underside, a smear of blood. Fresh blood didn't belong in the freezer. I leaned in to check the wrist tag again, and the sheet shifted. Not a twitch, not a spasm, not training video stuff. It was controlled, small and intentional, like someone underneath was trying not to be heard. My stomach dropped before my brain could argue. Then the index finger curled, slowly. It moved again, steady, deliberate. It pointed at me, and the room felt too quiet, like even the machines were listening. I forced myself closer and pulled the sheet down just enough to see his face. His eyes were open, clear, focused, wrong. He stared like he'd been waiting for me to read the note. "Sir," I whispered, "can you hear me?" He exhaled, long and shaking, smelling like river water and copper. Then he whispered, so quiet I had to lean in, "I'm not the one you're supposed to keep." And the way he said it made me believe him. When I demanded what he meant, his gaze flicked to the note in my hand. "Wrong body," he said, voice exhausted, terrified, sure. "They put me here because I look like him, because he's still out there." "It does make sense," he murmured, "if you understand what the river gives back." He lifted his hand with effort and pointed toward the autopsy bay. "Look," he whispered, urgency sharpening every syllable, "before it wakes up." I turned, and the autopsy table was spotless, empty, but the surgical lamp above it was swaying. The swing widened, slow and patient, like it had all night. Then the lamp lowered, smoothly, like an unseen hand adjusted it. The bulb clicked on. A harsh circle of light snapped onto the steel. I hadn't touched anything. No one else was there. Behind me, Drawer 14 breathed faster. "Don't let it see you," he whispered. I slapped the emergency button hard enough to sting. Nothing happened. No alarm, no light, no sound. Just the freezer hum, pretending it couldn't hear me. Behind me, the man jerked like something pulled a wire inside him. His eyes rolled, then returned black, and his smile didn't belong on a human face. When he spoke again, the voice was deeper, wet, like river water talking through him. The lamp swung again, and I heard it. Drip, drip, drip. Water striking steel. The dripping sped up, then something heavy slapped onto the table. I heard it slide, settle, like it belonged there. I ran for the door and yanked it, locked. I swiped my keycard. Red. I swiped again. Red again. And the lamp's beam crawled across the floor like a searching eye. That's when I finally saw what the light was guarding. A body lay on the autopsy table, one that wasn't on any list. It looked assembled, like a person built from a bad memory. And when it turned its head, its face looked like mine. Behind me, the keycard reader beeped once. Green. Like it wanted me to run only after I'd seen it. I yanked the door open and burst into the hallway. Warmer air that felt wrong. I didn't stop running until I hit the security desk. The guard followed me back, irritated, like my fear was an inconvenience. Inside, the freezer room looked normal. Bright lights, lamp off, clean tables. I pulled drawer 14 again. John Doe lay there cold and still, and the note was gone. The guard started to laugh, then stopped. He sniffed the air and looked down. Wet footprints pooled under the autopsy table, ending, then starting again, leading toward the freezer bank, like something was learning to walk like us. Later, alone again, I saw a damp spot on John Doe's sheet, like someone had exhaled. His lips parted and a whisper slipped out. Wrong body, not me. The words were soft, but they carried, like the room wanted me to hear them. My phone buzzed. Check the drawer with your name. In the corner, behind stacked gurneys, I found it. An open body bag with my name on the tag. Then my phone buzzed one last time. Welcome back. That's when I understood. It didn't want to kill me. It wanted to replace me. If you were alone on night shift and you saw your name on a body bag, would you run, or would you open the drawer anyway? Tell me what you'd do in the comments, because your answer decides whether you survive. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe for more true style paranormal tales, and I'll see you in the next one.